Hi, this is Tom Salemi from OIS-TV. Pleased to be joined by Jim Mazzo. He's the Global President of Ophthalmology at Zeiss Meditec. Congratulations on the new gig.
Thanks, Tom. Nice to see you. How you been?
You've been doing great.
How's the meeting going?
So far, so good. I haven't been able to see any of it. I'm locked away in this very dark room.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I assume it's going along terrifically outside. So I know you're on our panel today about building an ophthalmic business unit.
Right.
And a lot of interesting companies, Shire, Sun, J&J, and of course Zeiss, all ramping up practices. What's going on? What's going on with?
Well, you know, this is my 36th year in the industry,
Yep.
and every year I keep thinking, well, we're probably going to start to see a slowdown and something else happens. Obviously now J&J and my old company, AMO.
Yep.
But what I think is happening is you're seeing that ophthalmology still is at the highest level of interest by a lot of companies, big and small. And why is that? We've got unmet needs still to have products going forward. Retina, dry eye, presbyopia, all categories that really the patients are requiring new technologies. So these large companies are looking at our space and saying, hey, great demographics, let's get in. Small companies saying, I'm going to focus on a technology and maybe come through the acquisition. So 36 years, I'm still not surprised at what's going on.
And you joined Zeiss a few months ago, and when we talked, we did the podcast this summer, you're going to take some time to do an assessment.
Right.
Take a look at the business. How is that going? How is that process coming? What's it like to sort of move into this, already a leader and acknowledged special player in the space, but still to come in with a fresh perspective?
You know, it's actually been fun, and I'll tell you why. You know, I started out with a large company at Allergan, and then, of course, spun AMO, created that to make a large company. And then I went, dark for a couple of years and went to some small companies.
Yep.
And ran some small companies and took a lot of learnings from that. And actually, my first almost 90 days, what I'm starting to push more into is that small company mentality within a large company. Take the benefits of a small company, which is focus, fail fast, get the right people in the right places, and execute. And then use the large company resources on breadth and depth of product line and people. So we're starting to merge that. I've made some organizational changes. Aaron Schallhorn now running all our professional education. Today I'm announcing Steve Schallhorn is reporting directly to myself as Chief Medical Officer. Andy Chang came over from Bausch & Lomb, moved a couple other Zeiss people into business development and into head of diagnostics. So we're making changes really focused around the customer, which you've known me for a long period of time. The most important person at Zeiss is the customer, and so now we need to align our organization that way.
I was going to ask about changing the culture, so that's obviously a great way to do it, to bring in people with fresh perspectives like yourselves, and you're drawing from many different players as well. It's not like you're pulling from the old Allergan.
No. I'm not taking from some of the old. I think what's great is Zeiss has had a 150-year culture in our industry. They were here in the past, they're here today, and they're going to be here in the future. Not a lot of other companies can say that, so we're building on that. But what we're trying to do is a little more customer orientation, making sure that we understand what the customer's requirements are. A lot of times people build structures and then assume that the doctor understands the structure. They could care less about how we're organized. So what we're trying to do is have clear definitions of responsibility, execute against those, and make sure that the customer is not inhibited by our design of our structure, but is more powerful for them to be able to make their decisions on a daily basis.
And you mentioned the fail fast mentality. Does that reflect every part of the business or specifically to R&D and innovation?
Well, I'm doing a really good job of failing fast, so but I have a history of that. No, I think that's actually everywhere. People think of it as an R&D, and I'm trying to create that culture too within R&D. Is let's kill a project if it's not, and let's accelerate a project. But also the fail fast in just your decision making. Think of the amount of emails you get every day. Think about the amount of meetings you get every day. I consider failing fast meaning, why do we need that meeting? Kill it.
Yep.
Why do we need those multiple emails? Kill, reply all. Let's start with that one right off the bat. But I think it's that mentality of how do you want to spend your time? When you're in a small company, time is so critical because you're only funded to a certain point. If you don't get to that point, you're not getting funded. When you're a large company, funds are always going to be there. So time is not as critical. I'm trying to create that time is critical because we have to move fast. We have to move forward and we have to take advantage.
Do you have a Twitter feed? You should have a Twitter feed.
No, I don't even know how to hell do Twitter. I leave that up to smart people like you.
Oh, sure. You've got a lot of thoughts that you need to share with the world. Final question: how do you think Zeiss is going to look 3 to 5 years from now? What happens?
Well, that's a great question. 5 years, I have no clue because as I started this conversation, I'm amazed every year. Let's say 3 years from now, I hope what Zeiss has not lost what Zeiss has done, which is a great culture of top technology, a great culture of making sure that they've been committed to this great industry of ophthalmology and optometry. What I hope we have seen is that our customer service is rated as the best of any company. You know, what I've said today to our Zeiss team is that customer service will carry an organization with great products. You have to have great products and great service. If you don't provide the best service, the product alone cannot carry you. And that's not only in our industry, you see that across retail industries, you see that across. People will pay for great products as long as they get great service. So I want Zeiss to be recognized for great products and great service.
And how do you measure that?
How do I measure it? Well, we do customer surveys,
Yep.
but to a point, I measure that by actually, as you know me, 36 years, every day I'm talking to the customer. And the customer, what I love about it, because I've been around so long, they're brutally honest with me. And I meet to them across the globe. And if I start to hear comments about, hey, I'm really seeing a difference in the service, then that's how I'm going to measure it. But we'll, of course, do the traditional surveys. We'll do, obviously, what we see when we get feedback from them on the phone. We'll be much more automated, too, about how we're doing. But I still want to get the sense from the customers. And that's what I love, and that's why I love the space.
Are you going to be making sales calls with the young salesperson and
I'll be making sales calls all the time because that's the only time I have any fun is when I'm in the field talking to the customer.
I believe that. I believe that entirely. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tom. Always great. Talk to you.